And case in point, we have the run for governor in Virginia, right? And it's between two people, okay? A Jamaican-born Sambo soldier.
No! No! No, why? They're blaming black people for Earle-Sears' inevitable loss in Virginia. Now, this video comes to us by the amazing Lucas, and man, it's sad. It's sad because it involves a Jamaican. It involves a Jamaican cooning. I don't like it. Also, if I sound different, it's inevitable. Someone's going to notice. I'm sick, guys. This is why I didn't post yesterday. You know, that's the thing with having children, bro. It's you do everything you can for them. You do everything you can for them. They take everything from you. And how do they repay you? By bringing disease and illness into your house. Kids recently went to a birthday party, man. Everybody's fucking sick. We all got hit with that shit. And I feel all right. You know, I took yesterday off to rest. I feel okay. But, you know, the congestion, it is what it is. So just bear with me today. But we have to talk about this. And, you know, I said what I just said about kids, but they always have the ultimate comeback. I didn't ask to be here. Nobody told you to, you know what I'm saying? Nobody told you to have a weak pull-out game. And they're right.
You know what I'm saying? That's tough.
Okay. All right. Let's dive into the video.
One thing that you can't ever do is allow the enemy to frame the narrative. Because when it comes to this demons, okay, when it comes to the lineage of evil, they will switch up the narrative to suit their agenda. Always. It doesn't matter. They'll say 1 + 1 is 2 on Monday. And then if that doesn't work, or if they're low in the polls, they'll say 1 + 1 is 6 on Tuesday. Best believe that. And case in point, we have the run for governor in Virginia, right? And it's between two people, okay? A Jamaican-born Sambo soldier.
No! No! No, why? You know, with this video, we're going to talk about something very important. We're going to talk about the immigrant, the black immigrant to Raccoon pipeline. It's very real. It's very real, trust me. It's not good. We're going to talk about that. Okay. And I'm guessing this white lady on the left is a liberal. Okay.
And a white liberal. Both of them women. Now, I want people to understand that how they're trying to frame it right now, because they have all the Sambo soldiers in panic, in full panic, because the Sambo soldier, what's her name, Earle-Sears, is behind on the polls. And they coming out and they're attacking the NAACP and Obama, because the NAACP and Obama both gave their vote for the white liberal.
Right.
Now they're going out and saying, oh, this is horrible. They're attacking, you know, a black woman I thought we needed.
Yeah. Going to echo a great point I saw. The parties never switched. Dems in Virginia, who claim to love black people so much, are choosing not to vote for the first black female governor of the state, who is actually qualified to run the state, as she is the lieutenant governor. She also has blah, 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 blah. She's a raccoon, man. It doesn't matter. She's a double agent. That's the problem. You need to get that. Okay, black skin. Not all skin folk is kinfolk, as they say. They not on code, unfortunately. We're going to talk about this, why this happens. It's sad. We're going to talk about this. Hopefully, any incoming immigrants who are watching this, any black people or brown people, anyone who is not a white male that is immigrating to this country, I'm going to try and explain to you why it is that you must be wary not to fall into the trap of trying to become one of them, bro. You can't do it. You can't do it, bro. It's bad.
More representation. I thought we got to support black women.
Here she is standing with a gun. Why does her hair look like this?
You know, a black woman, I thought we needed more representation.
Why your hair look like this? Why does your hair look like this, huh? What is this? See, this is what happens when you think you're white. You can't move like a white person, man. White women, whatever is she doing to her hair, I promise you, if she's doing what she see white people do to their hair, it don't work for you. You're not one of them, okay? You need to take your ass down to some hair salon ran by black women and get your shit together, okay? All right? What is this?
I thought we got to support black women. And, we should be voting for, the black lady, because she's conservative and they just hate black conservatives and yada, 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 yada. And I'm thinking to myself this entire time, what black woman? This here is a coon.
What is this? What is this? Auntie! What are you doing? Wake up! Oh, God.
Now, let me just say, the funny in this is that when it comes to this Jamaican-born Sambo soldier, and I want to be clear, this has nothing to do with her being Jamaican,
right.
Okay? Because there are many immigrants who are pro-black who come here.
Present.
Here. But the issue is that this woman, not too long ago, said that we should get over slavery. That's correct. We should get over slavery. Now, she didn't say anything about the Jews. She didn't say anything about white people. Right. She didn't say anything else. Now, right. I don't know about you, but I still remember that, okay? I still remember that. Oh, and on top of that, I find it absolutely hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. Because remember what I said about the framing, how they'll switch it up? Because the same people, these Sambo soldiers who are the first ones to say, I don't see color, okay? I'm colorblind. All right. I want to live in a colorless society. Remember what MLK said? Okay. Judge me not by the color of my skin, but the content of my character. Yeah. Okay. Is this not what they say? Is this not what they say all the time? Have they not been?
Yeah, it's what they say. It's what they say, Lucas. You're right.
Screaming this ad nauseum, talking about identity politics. I don't believe in identity politics, okay? All right? I don't want the job because I'm black. I want it because I'm the most qualified. Is that not what they have been screaming from the mountaintops? Now, all of a sudden, one of their fellow Sambo soldiers is running a little behind on the polls. Now, what do? Black woman this, black woman that. What about representation? Oh, the NAACP. What are you talking about? What? It's so hilarious to me because they think that we're really stupid.
Right.
That's what they think.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
They think that black people are dumb. They so badly want black people to vote for Steven from Django. That's what they want.
I miss you like a hog miss fly.
They think we're gonna vote for Steven from Django versus the white dude who's trying to help Django. That's what they think. Right. And when we say that's a Sambo soldier. We're not putting them in office. Oh, so you hate black people? Okay, so you don't like black conservatives? Is that what it is? And it's like that. It's 2025. That 2016 talking point, it doesn't work today.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
It's not working on anyone. As black people, we all know that not all skin folk are kinfolk. So for you to try and pass this Sambo soldier, this Jamaican-born anti-black buffoon, it's crazy to me, to be honest with you. It's crazy. Like, you have a better chance at, I don't know, getting the Epstein files, if we're going to be honest. Damn. The cherry on top of this stupid sundae, mind you.
Give me a second. I'm going to explain to you why this happens. Okay? I'm going to explain to you why this happens. Why it is that immigrants, we see this with people from the Caribbean, with people from Africa. These immigrants, they come here and they get cozy with white massa. And they betray the black community, the black American community that made it possible for them to even come here in the first place. It's very sad. But I'm going to explain to you why this happens, okay? Because they're not evil. They're just misguided and opportunistic. They're misguided and opportunistic and ignorant. They're not evil, but it doesn't make it okay. I'm going to try and help you to understand why this happens. It's sad, but you know, we still can't let it slide though. We still gotta, the cooning must stop. It must stop.
Issue is not, black people in the NAACP, Obama. No. That's not the issue. The issue why they're trying to target black people and the NAACP and Obama and everyone else is because their Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, didn't endorse her. Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Donald Trump didn't endorse her until the final stages. Like, he put out a post like a couple of days ago before voting talking about vote Republican. Not vote for Winsome Sears, vote Republican. You want to know why? Because she ruffled his feathers a while back, and he said that she was a phony. She said that she was a fraud. That's why he's not mentioning her by name. That's why he said, vote Republican. If that is not the most tepid, soft type of endorsement that I've ever seen, what he basically said is hold your nose and vote for the N-word.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Yeah.
That's what he said. And you had this woman in an interview talking about, I would love to have an endorsement from Donald Trump.
Tying you to President Trump, saying you're a rubber stamp for him, but you don't have his endorsement. So what does that mean in Virginia?
Well, it means we're going to keep working in Virginia. I know no other way. And would I like the president's endorsement? Of course I would.
Toby be good nigga for massa.
Oh, wow. When did she move here? When did she move here? She neither sounds Jamaican or like a black American. She's gone all the way. Oh, no.
This is what they want of black people in the Republican Party. That's what they want. They want you to be the step it, fetch it, tap dancing. No. That's what they want for black people. And when you have black people who say, well, I'm not going to fall into that paradigm, okay? Now all of a sudden, oh, you hate an independent black person. Oh, you hate black people. Oh, I thought you were for black people. All this. No. Don't ever adopt their framing. Because like I said, as we can see,
to be for black people doesn't mean you're for every single individual black person. Not all skin folk is kinfolk. If you're working for the other side, if you're working for the enemy, then you ain't gonna have the support of the black people. If you are working to push policies and agendas that make life harder for the black people, then why would you expect their support? Huh?
Switch it up. They have no scruples. They have no morals. They have no depth as to how far they will go, bruh. They are demons, all right? They are demonic possessed individuals. That's what we can see. And when they can't have the white approval from Donald Trump, what do? They just attack black people.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight.
Why not attack them? Why not attack your own people? Why not attack the whites, right? The Republicans. Why not attack them? Why not criticize Donald Trump for not endorsing you? You don't do that. No, you attack black people.
Fault because Donald Trump didn't endorse her early. So it's Obama's fault that Donald Trump didn't endorse her. It's the NAACP's fault that Donald Trump didn't endorse her early.
Exactly.
This is the tactics. These are the games that they play.
You can stay here.
And I find it interesting that all of a sudden they want to talk about a black woman, support black woman. So I'm guessing that many of these Sambo soldiers are talking like this. Larry Elder, did you vote for Kamala Harris, right? Did you vote for her, right? A black woman?
Right.
Or let me guess, are you going to do the whole, she's not black, she's Indian? I'm just curious, right? I'm just curious. They're like a fish out of water. They flip-flop all the time. You can't trust them. They're just demons, bro. They're just wicked people. And, luckily, their time is coming to an end. All this goofiness isn't going to help you. All this, my black conservative, that ain't going to help you, bro.
Yeah.
Because the conservative party is about to kick y'all out if y'all haven't been, paying attention.
Yeah, they don't have any use for y'all niggas no more, man. Y'all's only purpose was to say the shit that they couldn't say out loud. But now in 2025, white conservatives have no problem saying the quiet parts out loud. And so your usefulness has expired. Right now, if you don't already have a lot of motion, a lot of clout, a lot of, a large following as a black conservative, you probably can't even blow up anymore, man. That whole area, it's full. They don't need y'all niggas no more, right? So if you're not a legacy black sellout, then that ship has sailed.
They have no more use for you, bruh. They have no more use for you. Your skin, is worth nothing to them now. Before, they can maybe, give you some racist talking points and hide behind the color of your skin, right? Being a token, because that's what many of these fools are. Maybe there was some value in being a token.
Right.
Moving forward, that value is going to plummet, bro.
Gone,
that
man.
value is going to be plummet like the stock market, okay? It's plummeting like currently millions of white people who are now being kicked off of Snap, all right? That's what's happening.
Damn.
So all in all, I just wanted to cover this story because I thought it was hilarious, okay? Absolutely hilarious, and I'm glad.
Yeah, so let's talk about this, man, because this is something that people need to understand, especially Black Americans. I know a lot of Black Americans are perplexed when they see Black immigrants come here. They side with Republicans. They side with far-right conservatives. They say things like, we need to get over slavery, all of that. Here's what happens. So a Black immigrant, they'll come from another country, right? A Caribbean country, an African country, a third world country, more than likely. And they are very well aware of the conditions that they were living in, right? They're aware of the crime rate. Like, take Jamaica, for instance, has one of the highest murder rates in the world. So you come from Jamaica, right? And in Jamaica, let's take the police, for instance. The police is very unregulated compared to here in America. Like police brutality isn't something you really get to complain about in Jamaica. It's a known fact that, for instance, if a police officer will stop you, pull you over, and you give them money, and they'll let you go free, depending on what the transgression is. Not all Jamaican police, but I've seen it firsthand. I've seen my father give many a police officer money, and he get to leave without getting a ticket. Right? You hear stories of police officers going into gang-infested areas and just killing people, gangs of people. And the Jamaican people are, to a great degree, consenting of it. To a great degree, they're like, yeah, because these people, they're causing all kinds of hell and anarchy in the communities, the violent criminals. Like the police in Jamaica, they walk around with AR-15s and M16s, and this is just normal. You see them in the airports, right? They look like they're about to go to war. And so when you come to America and you hear about, stop and frisk, and you hear about, the police are they're violating your rights. A Jamaican looks at that and thinks, what the fuck is y'all niggas complaining about? The police here are nice. What do you mean? Like, the attitude Jamaican civilians have towards Jamaican police is, you better just do whatever they tell you to do, right? You don't fight back against the police. And so when we come here and you see acts of police brutality, but you see a lot of times the Black person who is being stopped, even if his rights are being violated, even if he is being stopped and it's clear the reason he's being stopped is some form of discrimination. Like, we're already coded with this mindset that the police, they are above the law, and it is in your best interest to just comply. And if you get shot, there are no body cams. They're like this is what you're supposed to do. You just listen to the police. And so a lot of immigrants, they come here and they see these instances when, on one hand, statistically, you have to imagine there are probably hundreds of thousands, or if not millions, of interactions between the police and Black people every day in America. And then, so when you have a few dozen incidents where there seems to be some kind of, shit goes bad, it just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. You come from a very poor country. Within one generation, you can go from being dirt poor to being a millionaire by just like locking in, focusing, and working hard. Like, when you go to school, if you study and get 10 out of 10 on your papers, right? You get 100% on your papers. You're going to get that 100%. They're not going to mark you down just because you're Black. And so if you do well in school And then thanks to programs like affirmative action and DEI, things that aren't in place anymore, but they were, right, up until very recently, you're like, damn, all I got to do is study and I'll get good grades. And then on top of my good grades, because of my black skin, I actually have somewhat of a help up to get into these Ivy League universities or get into top tier universities. There's so many companies and universities that want black faces in positions of authority and power. You know, it just seems like there's so many things benefiting us, right? You have special scholarships for black people. You have special grants for black people and minorities. It's not usually just black people, but minorities in general. But if you're a black person, you had access to that. A lot of that has been stripped away now, right? And so the immigrant comes here and they see, oh, well, if I just move a certain way and I apply myself in a certain way, well, then I can have it all. I can attain anything. And so all of these complaints that you're hearing coming from black Americans about racism and all of this, these niggas is just victims. They're just in this victim mindset. They can't move past it. They can't get past it because I came here with nothing and now look at me, I'm so successful. And when a white officer or a white employer or a white teacher sees me, they see me as a black person no differently than they see you. And if anything, having an African accent, having a Jamaican accent, having an accent that makes you seem like a foreigner should be an obstacle. It shouldn't be something that actually helps you. And so you as a black American who actually sounds like an American, you should have even more of an advantage than me. You grew up in this country with all of these resources from day one. You don't know what it's like to have the power and the light be shutting off on a regular basis. Not even because you didn't pay your bills, but that's just because the infrastructure is so shit, right? In Jamaica, you got to pay for your schooling all the way from primary school. In America, public school is free. That's not the case. Growing up all the way from like grade 1, my parents have to pay tuition for me to go to a school that has less resources than you get as an American for free at an American public school. On top of, we got to pay for books. We got to pay for uniform. We got to pay for all of this shit. While the average Jamaican is making like less than $30,000 a year. And so a lot of immigrants, they come here financially poor. And within a very short period of time, they completely transform their lives, transform their families' lives, so much to the point where they're now living middle class, upper middle class, and are on top of that sending money back to their family, back home to help take care of them. Whereas they then look at the black American person who is talking about race and racism and all of this and is like, what is your excuse, right? This is the mindset. But what a lot of immigrants don't understand is that coming here poor, coming here without a lot of money is not the same as growing up in the hoods of Chicago. It's not the same as growing up in the hoods of Memphis. It's not the same at all. Because yeah, as an immigrant, maybe you didn't come here with a lot of money, but America isn't giving green cards to just any immigrant that applies. We're not talking about refugees and shit like that. We're talking about you are from a Caribbean island, you're from an African island, and you went through the process of trying to get a green card to come and be a permanent resident in America. You may not have a lot of money, but more than likely you either have, you know, some kind of college education from your homeland. You have family living already in America that will be a support system to you, right? If you come to America and you're struggling to get on your feet right away, the very first thing you're going to do is not go and try and get on welfare, right? You have family. Like, for instance, my dad came here, didn't have a lot of money, didn't have any American degrees, but he was highly educated in the Jamaican college system. And he had family here that he could live with while he got himself together. A lot of immigrants, they come here with, you know, skills. My dad was already an accountant in Jamaica, right? They come here with stuff. The only thing they might not have when they show up here is money, but they come here with things, whether that be skills, education, or family connections, right? Very different than, let's take a young black boy who grows up in the hoods of Chicago, who is surrounded by gun violence, maybe doesn't have a good relationship with one of his parents, probably his father. His mother doesn't have, a college degree, maybe didn't even graduate high school. Like, for instance, right? I came to America at 15. Immediately, I was at the top of my class in English, right? Like senior year, I was doing almost all AP classes. And I didn't study at all when I was here in American high school because the Jamaican public schooling system is so rigorous. It is so intense. Like, I came to America as a junior in high school and I felt like I was doing like the same level of math and English that I was doing in the 7th grade in Jamaica. It's crazy. It's weird. America, we have so many more resources here, but I'm telling you, the schooling system in America is terrible, bro. The quality of the education system here is terrible, and it's on purpose. Like, I came and I was already top of my class, bro, without barely studying. I didn't even study for the SATs, and I think I was in the top like 88 percentile for my SAT scores. Like, bro, I took high school in America so unseriously because it just felt so easy. It felt so simple. And so a lot of the immigrants that come here, yes, you're coming from a more impoverished situation, but the only reason you're being allowed over here is because you are in every other category, the best that your country had to offer. I'm not saying that every Jamaican, if they were to come here, they would perform like me. I was very privileged in Jamaica. Like, my parents did a lot. Like, I went to one of the best high schools in Jamaica, Arden High School. You feel me? A lot of immigrants, they take shit like that for granted when they come here, and then they compare themselves to the black people, the black Americans who are coming from the worst conditions here in America. That's what they do. This is how they fuck up. This is how they deceive themselves. They come here, they're one of the best from their country, or they're one of the most privileged people from their home country. But then they come here and compare themselves to the least privileged black Americans. And then they say, well, if I can do it, you can do it. And they equate themselves to the least privileged because of the money thing. They say, well, nigga, I'm poor too. I'm broke too. And that may be true, but you don't take into account all the other ways in which you were actually privileged, whether that be the schools you got to go to, the background, the culture. You grew up with both your parents, for instance, right? A lot of Africans, that's their situation. A lot of African immigrants, they come here, they know their mom, they know their dad. Their parents are college educated even. And so they come, they perform well. And instead of learning the history and empathizing with why it is that the least privileged black Americans here, why it is that they are having the environment that they have and how it has been shaped by white supremacy and racism and all of that, which explains why they aren't performing at a certain level, and understanding that the solution to that is not pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, but we need to change the environment that they have to live in. We have to change the resources that are available to them. We have to improve those things. Instead of understanding that, well, then they go ahead and cozy up because they get a taste of the success. They get a taste of the power. And they say, man, instead of trying to fight for the bettering the conditions of these people, I'm just going to try and align myself with the people with money and power. And they get greedy, bro. They get a taste of that capitalistic wealth. And they're like, man, no, I can become a millionaire. I can become a billionaire in this country. And so what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to vote Republican. Why? Because Republican policies, they benefit the business owner. And that's what I want to be, right? A lot of these African people, for instance, they come here, like African women, and they open up hair salons. Well, a lot of them end up voting Republican. Why? Because they're going to lower the the tax rate for business owners. But the worst part is they do not have an understanding of how bad the racism in this country is. Because if you immigrated to this country between the 1990s and maybe all the way up until like 2020, there's a high chance that you haven't experienced any like serious level of racism. The racism in this country has been very underground for a long time. It's popping back up again. But you, like, for instance, I've been here for 15 years. I've never been called the N-word by a white person. I have never been treated in such a way where I felt like, oh, wow, I just got denied something that I was entitled to based on my rights because of my blackness. I've never actually experienced that. I've had experiences where someone was rude to me, or I felt like I was being treated a little, unfairly, and I was suspicious that it had something to do with the fact that I'm black, but it wasn't like overt, full-blown racism. Every house that I've ever tried to, rent, every apartment I've ever tried to rent, I've gotten. Every job that I've ever really wanted to secure, that I've applied for, I've gotten. You know what I'm saying? If I do well in school, I get good grades. If I get good grades, I get into the universities I applied to. No one's calling me the N-word. And so it's like I'm getting promoted to the point where I'm skipping white people and Hispanic people and all of that. And so if you don't really have a connection to the history in this country, it's very easy as an immigrant to come here and believe that racism isn't really a problem here. Systemic racism doesn't exist. It's very easy to believe that. Sure, you have your weird, rude, individual white racists, but there isn't like a big problem holding you back as a black person. But then the black American is looking at you crazy because they remember segregation, right? If they're an older black person, they were kids during the civil rights era, or maybe their parents marched during the civil rights era, and they understand that something like that isn't going to just disappear in one generation. And they have connections. They have family members that were victims of the war on drugs campaign. They heard the stories about their grandparents getting laid off from the factories and how that caused so many problems for their family during the industrialization of the North. And a lot of these black immigrants are completely disconnected from black American communities. And so their perception of black Americans is no different than the perception that white Americans who live in the middle of the country, who don't have any interactions with black Americans, the same way how they're being programmed by mainstream media to fear black people and believe all of these lies about black Americans and listening to these false stats, or how, listening to stats being taken out of context. That's the same shit that these black immigrants in Caribbean countries and African countries and all around the world, that's the same propaganda they're being fed. And so they come here believe in all of this bullshit as well. And so when you combine all of these factors, the fact that they're coming from an environment that seems 10 times worse already, even with the racism that is here in America, alleged or otherwise, they're like, yeah, this shit is like living in heaven in terms of the opportunities that I have. You combine that with the disconnect from black American history, the disconnect from black American communities, the propaganda that they've been brainwashed with, the fact that up until very recently, it's likely they haven't experienced any real significant overt forms of racism, especially if they moved here and then they moved to like a blue city, which a lot of immigrants do. They move here and they're living in New York, they're living in Houston, they're living in South Florida. They're not living in redneck areas. And so they're living in areas that are more progressive already anyway. Then they're taking advantage of affirmative action and DEI and all of these things, and they're just deceived. They're deceived about the realities of this country. They're deceived about the realities of racism in this country. And then they end up becoming Sambo soldiers. It's very sad. And so more than likely, that's what happened to this Jamaican woman who is running for governor in Virginia. And it's what happens to a lot of immigrants, you know what I'm saying? And the only thing I think that can really wake them up out of it is for them to learn Black American history. Because without learning the history of the people here, you will not truly understand why the people are where they are. And if you don't understand a group of people and understand why they are where they are, it is very hard to empathize with them. It makes it a lot harder to empathize and sympathize with them. And this is a big part of the reason why we're seeing the conservative right push to do things like eliminate Black history from public school curriculums, right? It's already such an embarrassment how little Black history you will learn in the public schooling system here in America, and now they're trying to strip it down even more. And so if you are a Black immigrant and or you come from a Black immigrant family and you call yourself a Republican, you call yourself a conservative, I encourage you, please, you must study Black history. If there is one book that I highly encourage you to read, there are so many books you could read, but you can read this book. I love this book. This book I credit as my Black American like awakening, I suppose you could say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had some of these bad ideas as well too, bro. Coming to America as an immigrant at the age of 15. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had some of these bad ideas as well. And this book really woke me the fuck up and helped me to understand. And so I highly recommend you read this. Even if you're a Black American, you need to understand why Black Americans are owed reparations, bro. This book will put a lot of things into perspective for you. But Randall Robinson, The Debt, What America Owes to Blacks. Anyway, guys, that's the video. You let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. And until next time, peace out.